Double Harvest Homestead. Welcome to the first video in the UCAN video series. This series is dedicated to those who want to learn how to can and never done it before. We're going to talk about everything from a basic level. So if you're new to canning, I pray and hope that this is easy for you to understand and that it will give you the encouragement that you can do it. So UCAN is an acronym for University of Canning. And again, it's a short little message to encourage you that you can do it. So let's get started talking about canning. So what is canning? Canning is, in a nutshell, preserving food in a glass jar through heating processes that makes the food shelf stable for long term. And the method by which that you process those canned good foods will be determined by the acidity level in the food or by the amount of acidity added to the recipe of that food. For example, high acidic foods you can process through either a steam canner or water bath canners. If it is a low acidic food, you would process it through a pressure canner, and we'll get more into that in later videos. This is just the basics, and I hope that this is helping you so far. An example of high acidic food are pickles, jellies, and jams. These foods are all processed through water bath canning or steam canning. Now, anything you can water bath can, you can also steam can. The processes are different, and we will get into those into future videos, but I just wanted you to have an idea what high acidic foods are and how they're processed. This is a pressure canner. You would use this for the low acidic foods such as beets, peas, corn, green beans, asparagus. Those types of food you would process in a pressure canner. And this is the one that intimidates everybody the most, but we're going to talk about this in depth in future videos, and I don't want you to be intimidated because you can do it. Let's talk about jars. I'm sure you're ready to run on out and get yours so you can get started in this canning process. So let me show you what the sizes are and what you use them for. Starting here on the left, this is the 32-ounce quart size jar. And as you can tell, it has a wide mouth on it. And the reason is I used a wide mouth because I processed some tomatoes that we grew in our garden last year. And this being a larger food, it was just easier to get it inside of a wide mouth jar versus a regular mouth jar. Now, if you are following a recipe from the Ball Home Canning book, the recipe is going to tell you what size jar you need for that particular recipe. And as you grow in learning and canning, you will be able to assess the type of jar you need for the recipe that you're going to be processing. So this is the 32-ounce quart size jar with a wide mouth, and this is used, I would use this jar for my tomatoes, peas, carrots, the larger type vegetables, larger recipes, that sort of thing. That is what I would do for the 32-ounce quart size jar. Now the next thing we have is a 16-ounce pint size jar. Now inside this jar I have some salsa that we processed, and I put that in a regular mouth because obviously that's a smaller type food and I didn't need as much as an opening to get the food in there. So you would use this for jams, jellies, preserves, sauces, salsas, etc. So that is the 16-ounce pint jar. You can also get these in wide mouth as well. Now this next one here, this is an 8-ounce half pint. And inside this I have some pizza sauce that I processed out of herbs and vegetables that we grew out of our garden last year. And so this, I have to say, is the perfect gift giving size. You can do jellies, jams, preserves, condiments, sauces, you name it, pie fillings inside this 8-ounce half pint jar. So this is a great gift size. So this cute little fella right here, this is a 4-ounce jar. This is also great for gift giving. Inside here I have some homemade pepper jelly from some peppers that we grew in our garden last year, and it's just a great gift giving size as well. You can put jellies, jams, spreads, condiments, etc. This is a great little jar. I love these. I think these look so pretty and they are adorable. And again, your recipe will let you know what size jar you need for that particular recipe. But these are the sizes of the jars and what their needs are. Now, the 4 jars that I just showed you are the basic jar sizes that you need to get started. But I wanted to show you this. This is a 16-ounce pint jar as well, and isn't it beautiful? This is wonderful for giving gifts. So I've got some peach scrap jelly that I made this past summer, and I put it inside of here. It's a taller jar, and it's got this beautiful quilted look, and the food looks just so pretty in there. So I just wanted to show you that there are different shapes and sizes to some of these jars, but the 4 I just showed you, those are the basic sizes to get started. But golly, don't that look pretty? The number one question that I'm always asked is, what in the world do I need to get started in canning? Well, this right here, these are the basics that you need to get started on your canning journey. And let me tell you something, everything on this table, with the exception of this book and this steam canner, all came from Walmart. Yes, you heard that right. So you can begin your canning journey in an affordable way without breaking the bank and have fun in the process. So let's get into each of these things, what they are, and why you need them. First things first, every university has a textbook, right? Well, this is the textbook for UCAN. This is the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. Everything you need to know about canning, how to do it, and why you're doing it is in this book. This is your encyclopedia to canning, and it has over 400 easy to follow recipes. If you're following this step by step, you can be assured that you're doing it correctly and safely for yourself and for your family. Now, I know that there are some rebel canning techniques that are floating around out there, and let me just say right off the bat, I am not opposed to rebel canning. I just don't understand it or know it enough to make sure that I'm doing it correctly to keep my family safe. So I'm not opposed to it. I just have never done it, and I don't know how to do it safely. But my family has trusted the ball preserving guidelines for years. They follow the USDA safety guidelines, so you can be assured that when you're using this book and you're following these recipes, you're doing it correctly and you're doing it safely. And you can find this on Amazon. It runs you about 20 bucks. I've never seen it in our Walmart book department, but that doesn't mean that it's not in yours. So you can research where you might be able to find this more affordable. But if you want to take a quick look at it, I'll have it listed in my Amazon storefront. Again, it runs you about 20 bucks. This is the textbook for UCAN. And you're going to preserve all those beautiful recipes in jars. And doesn't it look just so beautiful? So you're going to need jars, lids, and rings. Now, I'm going to tell you to trust the Ball brand because that is what we have trusted for generations and had wonderful success. There are other brands out there. We just haven't used them, so I can't tell you how well they work. I can only stick to what I know. You can purchase this at Walmart. You can actually get the jars, all sizes, quart, pint, half-pint, quarter-pint in both wide mouth or regular mouth in cases of 12 in Walmart. And they will come with the lids and the rings already with them in that case. You can also purchase your lids and your rings separately. They come in a box like this. You can get wide mouth as well as regular mouth. I highly recommend that you go ahead and get a box extra each of the wide mouth and the regular mouth just to have on hand because you just never know. So I got these listed in our Amazon storefront as well because you can purchase them there, but they come cheaper at Walmart. So you're going to need to get you some jars, lids, and rings. Let's just quickly talk about the anatomy of the jar, the lid, and the ring. And technically that thing is called a band, but I always say ring. So you've got your jar and you put your food in there that you're ready to process, and then you're going to put a lid on it. You see the inside of that lid? There's a rubber seal all the way around the outer edge. And when you place that over the mouth of your jar, that rubber seal is sitting around the edge there, and then you're going to take this ring and put it on it just a finger tight. At that point is when you put your jar either in your water bath canner, your steam canner, or your pressure canner, and the heat is going to cause that jar to seal where that rubber banding is. So that is why you need a jar, a lid, and a ring. So I know that's kind of basic, but some folks don't understand the necessity for all of that, and I just want you to understand why you're getting these items. And we'll talk more in depth about all of this in future videos. And as a footnote, once you've purchased those jars, you've got them jars for here on out. Unless something happens and they chip and break, you can reuse your jars over and over. The same goes for this band. Once you've invested in it and you've got them, you've got them. You can use these over and over. The lids, on the other hand, again, our personal preference is one and done. I don't want to trust that that seal who has been sitting on my shelf for 6 to 8 months is going to seal again if I put it on a second batch of food. So for me personally, I'm one and done. Others reuse them 2 to 3 times and have great success. I personally don't want to take the chance. So anyway, these lids are, once you buy them, in my opinion, and you use them, they're done with at that point. Now, I've already talked to you about buying extra lids and rings in a box like this. And we just discussed that once you get those rings, you've got them. You can use those over and over. But according to the way I teach, those lids are one and done. So you're thinking to yourself, okay, what am I going to do if I just need some lids, but I don't need rings? Well, I'm going to show you. You can purchase boxes of lids only, both in the wide mouth and the regular mouth. They come in a box of 12, and again, you can find these on the canning aisle at Walmart, as well as Amazon, and I'm sure other places, but the most cost-effective I've found has been at Walmart. I'll have all of these items listed in our Amazon storefront for easy shopping, but I highly recommend that you go to Walmart because, again, that's the most affordable that I've been able to find them. I also recommend these long-handled ladles. I have 2 of them. One of them is slotted, and this one, I love this. I highly recommend getting one that has the little spout on either side of it, but the long handle is to keep you safe because you're working with hot food and steam, and so you definitely need a pair of nice ladles, and I will have these listed in my Amazon storefront as well. I'm sure that you can purchase some of these at Walmart, but I did get these from Amazon. You're also going to need a set of these canning tools, and these can be found in a package all together in the canning aisle at Walmart. It's going to have a funnel in it, it's going to have some jar tongs, it's going to have this little magnet, and it's also going to have this right here, which is a debubbler, as well as a measuring tool on this end, and we'll get into this more in future videos. But you definitely need a kit of these. It's probably going to be 15 bucks or less. Again, can be found on the canning aisle at Walmart. I will list one in my Amazon storefront as well. You're also going to need some nice dish drying mats. Now, you can use a towel if you want to, that's fine too, but I like these dish drying mats, and I've gotten these at a variety of places. I do like this thicker one the best. I got that one from Walmart. These came from the Dollar Tree, and I think I got this real pretty one right here. I got at a yard sale. But the reason you need these are to protect your counter, because when you're pulling those hot jars out of either your water bath canner, steam canner, or your pressure canner, then you're going to set them on these mats to give them the 24 hours they need to cool down and to seal. So you want to protect your countertop, and this is a good way to do it by getting you some dish drying mats, and you can get those anywhere. And the most important thing that you need in order to begin your canning journey is your canner. These are both water bath canners, and this is where I always tell new beginners to start, is with water bath canning. Now, both of these water bath canners came from Walmart, and each of them were $24.97 each. This one is a stainless steel, and this one is an enameled on steel. So the price is the same. They're both 21.5 quarts, so it's whichever one that you prefer. I actually have 2 of these and 2 of these because we do a lot of canning around here, as you can see. So what you should receive with your water bath canner, regardless of which one you choose, you're going to get the pot, the lid, and inside there should be a wire rack. It's important to have this because you never want your jars touching the bottom of your pot. So you will always load your jars into this rack and then lower it into the water when you begin to process. So the canner should include the lid, the pot, as well as the wire rack that you're going to load the jars into, because again, the jar should never touch the bottom of your pot when you're processing, and the reason is they're probably going to break. So these water bath canners, again, they come from Walmart. They're $24.97. I will find some comparable and list them in my Amazon storefront if you want to shop there for it. But again, Walmart is the place to get these. This is a steam canner. Anything that you can water bath can, you can steam can. And we'll get more into that later in later videos. Now, the steam canner requires 80% less water than a water bath canner. This is a 21.5 quart pot, and you're going to have to fill it up until the water is at least 1 inch above your jars. So that is a lot of water, whereas this only requires anywhere from 2 to 3 quarts of water. That's it, because you're processing through steam instead of boiling. But again, we'll get more in depth to that as we go along. Now, the steam canner requires less water, so it is faster in the processing time. Now, the steam canner, came from Amazon, it's going to run you around $50. So what you will get with that is this big old dome lid, and the design of this is to create that steam in there. You're also going to get this bottom tray, and it has these handles, and then you're also going to get this right here. This is what your jars will sit on, because again, you never want those jars touching the bottom of anything that you're processing them in. So this is a steam canner, and again, I will list this in my Amazon storefront, and we will talk more about steam canning versus water bath canning in future videos. Just a quick footnote. You may be thinking to yourself, well, you said I need to start out with water bath canning, but steam canning is a lot faster, so which should I start with? I still recommend that you start out with water bath canning first. So I recommend that you start out by getting you a water bath canner, and as you get more comfortable with this process and understanding how it works, then we can go up a notch, if you will, to steam canning. So I still recommend that you start out with a water bath canner, and it is less expensive to start with water bath than it is with steam canning. And this is the pressure canner. This is the one that intimidates everybody. And I hear it all the time. I'm scared to use it. I don't want to blow up my kitchen. But I hope that through this series, not only will you get comfortable with using a pressure canner, but you will look forward to using it. Now, I got this one at Walmart. I've had it for a couple of years, actually several years. I've got 2 of them. So with a pressure canner, you're going to have this little thing on the top that's got weights, and we'll go in depth over the anatomy of it in future videos. You're going to have this lid. It's a locking lid that has a seal. Keep that from falling. Has a seal underneath there. That's very important. And also, you're going to get the pot itself, as well as on the inside there will be a rack, because like I keep saying, you never want your jars to touch the bottom of the pot that you're processing them in. So that's the anatomy of this pressure canner. This is the Presto. I will list it in my Amazon storefront in case you want to take a look at it. But again, I purchased mine from Walmart, and it's been very, very handy, and it stood the test of time for us. So I recommend this one. It was around $80 several years ago when we got it. But anyway, that's all for this first video. I hope that this has been helpful. Please do not hesitate to leave your questions and comments in the comment section. If you have any questions about anything that we've gone over in this video, I would love to hear from you. The only stupid question, in my opinion, is one that wasn't asked, because if you don't know, you need to ask. And I say this all the time. If I don't know the answer, I'll find it out and we will learn it together. And do you know somebody who would love to learn how to can and knows nothing about it, and that this series may be helpful to them? Well, go ahead and share this with them. And if you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe. All right, y'all, I'm looking forward to the second one where we're going to get more in depth into some things, but at least this is some basics to tell you what you need to go and purchase in order to get started. All right, that does it for this video. Happy canning, y'all, and may all your lids seal.